Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Several spots to watch and even a couple of sneaky ones around. I don't want to lose sight of anything that may just try to spin up just to the east of us. Here we are in the Caribbean. One spot here that has actually shown quite a bit of circulation close by, so I want to get into that. Another area that's going to develop north side of the Bahamas, just to the north of the Bahamas, I believe by Sunday and Monday. Not a lot of folks talking about that, but what I've been seeing behind the scenes, seeing development there. And of course, we're thinking of all those that are dealing with Hurricane Francine and the heavy rain with Francine moving into parts of Mississippi and Louisiana this morning. Now, this map, a lot of fancy colors on this map, shows where there is the potential development. Of course, with Francine in the northern Gulf, that has already developed. But you see this spot here, the northern Bahamas, right in here off the southeast of the U.S. There could be a spin up, and then watching these other tropical waves. But as I mentioned, that little spin to the east of the Caribbean has been grabbing my attention. Short term, obviously watching this. A landfall this morning. As expected, everything staying in the heaviest weather east of the Houston area. This will work its way right up into Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of Alabama. Tornado threat, panhandle of Florida as that moves in. About a foot of some rain moving into Louisiana and parts of Mississippi where they've already had a ton of rain. So that up there, we'll get into the modeling on that across the Gulf. But this here, you can see some scattered showers and storms. Look at that little spin right there. That had quite the circulation this morning. It is very tiny. Conditions aren't conducive for development. That is good, but it's been hanging together, so it definitely has my attention. Let me get a little closer. So here we are in Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent the Grenadines. Here's Dominica, and you see here's Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. This area here, while I don't expect a lot of development, one, I'm going to monitor it for any changes because it's overperforming. It's already had a better circulation than a lot of things that have been out there. It's very tiny, but two, it is going to, at the least, bring us some extra rain as we work our way toward the end of the week. So just this little spot, sometimes these little spots can do some funky things, if you will, so especially in the peak of the hurricane season, which we're at right now. So this area, not expecting any great development, but no, I'm watching it. On Friday, though, that's going to bring us some extra rain, and I'll monitor for any weird signs of development, but as of now, not seeing that. But Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Antigua, Barbuda, that's at least going to clip us by with additional rain as we work our way into Friday, just a couple days from now. That's why I mentioned when there's a lot of big systems out there to not lose sight of other things that we're tracking. So it's that little one there. This area is still kind of hanging together. These spots behind it may also try to develop. No immediate concerns with these, as far as I'm not seeing anything quickly spinning up into a hurricane and headed our way. You can see some of the dry air. Here's that little sneaky spot here. Here's this bigger tropical wave behind it. You see that orange shading in there? That's some of the dry air, and that is good because that is kind of battling these things in a good way. Plus, there's some wind shear here. Those would be winds of the opposite direction that will knock off some of the thunderstorm tops. That's why I mentioned conditions aren't conducive for a lot of development. Just very interesting to see these hanging together and just going to monitor that for the increased chance of rain. Short-term, Bay of Campeche, we are much better throughout much of Mexico, watching out for some scattered showers and storms. There's the circulation, 5 o'clock, that will start to be making landfall later today when the center point moves in right into the southern parishes of Louisiana. The very heavy rain, so this will work in later today. Heavy rain spreading to the north, right up through the Mississippi River Valley, and then eventually the Tennessee River Valley. But now, in the next several hours, the worst weather moving in. Now, it didn't blossom. I saw a lot of stuff out there. This could be a category 3. This could be a monster, yada, yada, that sort of stuff. I always monitor, and it is always good to prepare for what could be the worst case scenario in this, but it's what we were talking about a few days ago. I want to show you kind of a wrinkle in this system, but here it is, right on track. Again, it shifts back east-west a little bit, but it's starting to move in. We'll have those winds roughly 70 to about 90 miles per hour right in the core of it, and then lesser as you get out, but there's going to be those gusty winds all night long, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle of Florida. Winds will be coming out of the south. Tornado threat and some of those feeder bands, those rain bands that work in. Winds will diminish, though, as we go throughout the day tomorrow. Of course, the worst stuff now. Officially, winds at about 90 miles per hour. Tropical storm force winds, as orange shading, about to move in. Hurricane warnings, of course, are up. Even some of the inland parishes, and then this will weaken. It'll be a tropical storm in Mississippi, and then weaken further throughout the day tomorrow after landfall. But flooding, we are all thinking of you. just real deal flooding here, over a foot of rain on top of the rain we've had over the last week and a half over toward Louisiana. But this is what I was mentioning a few days ago, and I think some other entities may have been losing sight of that. That's fine. There's been a stalled front in through here, so you see a lot of this blue shading. The water temperatures dropped the last 7 days. This is a temperature trend, temperature change. The blue means it's gone down. Now, it's still warm enough to support a hurricane like there is now in the Gulf of Mexico, but the water temperature is more like 83, 84 versus 88, 89, 90. That makes a big difference for any rapid intensification. That's why a few days ago I was not really seeing that. But nonetheless, moving in as a hurricane, any hurricane by its own nature, category 1 or category 3, 5, whatever, it's a hurricane, and flooding will be a huge threat with that moving in. No, we are thinking of you in Mississippi, Louisiana, over toward parts of Alabama, even the panhandle of Florida. So there's that. I covered that. That moving in throughout the day, the landfall later today. Here are these little spots. There's that one right there. Here's the other one here. But as I mentioned, there's some of that dry air around and wind shear. So this is by the time we get into Thursday. Just looking ahead for future development, Bermuda, there's been some blobs of rain, but a couple spots that will develop right here. You see that here, the northern Bahamas, just to the north. This area, I do believe, could become tropical in nature and then work its way up toward the Carolinas. So this spin here, yeah, all eyes have been on Francine, but look at that develop. And then you see in here, at least this, the American model is not really developing much of this. Maybe one of these waves out here could develop, but that area that I was watching, that little spot that'll bring us some extra rain on Friday, that does have my attention just to see if it does anything different. But you see here on Sunday, some sort of spin out here developing. Now, northern Bahamas, New Providence, Freeport, this will be to the north, but you see it moving up toward the Carolinas. That means higher seas. I'll get into those seas in a moment. But another quick moving subtropical or tropical system. Subtropical means maybe not truly tropical in nature, trying to move in there. And then in the meantime, going way out in time into next week, yeah, there could be a couple spins out here, but you see nothing super crazy. So just kind of seeing if anything does something different than what the models are showing. And you can see these spins here. I showed you that spin, of course, with Francine. And you can see a couple little kind of blips here of some gustier winds. Nothing super appreciable. You could see some of that purple shading losing there on Saturday. That's that small, sneaky spin that I was showing you that could bring us some rain in the northeastern Caribbean. But that there, by Saturday into Sunday, that's what I do believe. It's a storm system. It's going to be wrapping up. And then you see it there. That is eventually going to lift up to the north through the Carolinas. I would not be surprised to see a tropical storm or something like that working its way up toward the Carolinas. While all eyes have been on Francine, there could be another system that brews very close to home. And then watching this spin out here and then kind of seeing stuff out here that I'll be watching simply as we go forward. So Francine, the name obviously now. The next name on the list is Gordon. That could be off the coast of the southeast U.S. That spin moving up toward the Carolinas. That's a potential, or maybe one of those tropical waves out there. Helene, Isaac, Joyce, Kirk, Leslie, Milton. We haven't gotten too far down, but with the landfall of Francine, this is 6 straight name systems to start the season to make landfall. I don't know if that's ever happened. I was going back and I haven't been able to find that the first 6 names have made landfall, at least in recent record keeping. Now, short term, watching out for the spotty showers and storms, right? Costa Rica and Panama. We've had some flooding in some spots. And then as we work our way into Friday, we'll see that right there. It's hard to see, but a little increased chance of rain with that small spot, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla. We'll see that rain chance pick up some. Not a washout. Now, safety, obviously, on the waters. We know that in the Gulf of Mexico. Everything's super elevated with Francine working in. Over toward the southeast U.S. and the northern Bahamas, the seas are going to be building pretty quickly this weekend. This is today, but going out in time as this continues to work its way in, we're going to see that system. Our attention will be drawn to a couple spots right here, and then some choppier seas as we get over toward the Atlantic waters with those tropical disturbances moving in. This here is by the time we get into Friday. So watching these waters here, northern Bahamas, to the north with this developing area, seas are going to start to build on Saturday upwards of about 3.5 meters, about 10 plus feet. And then you see it really building in here by Sunday. So this is the early heads up between the U.S. and Bermuda that there could be some sort of system developing, lifting up to the north, creating those higher seas, and then potentially moving in to the Carolinas. And we'll watch out for the northern stretches. Of course, Bermuda, I was mentioning that, some of the rain, I was showing you that earlier, that is around part of this front here, Atlantic region of Canada. Not a whole lot as we go over the next few days. We have that frontal boundary that is now down toward the south and the east. So the weather has actually been looking good, just keeping an eye on some of that moisture that is down to the south. So as far as rain totals go over the next 3 days. Of course, over toward Louisiana, I mentioned we're looking at over a foot. Same thing. Parts of southern areas of Mississippi. This here, spotty showers and storms. Dominican Republic and Haiti, we're going to see a flare-up each afternoon. There's a little more moisture around in the atmosphere, and with the daytime heating, that's going to spark off a slightly better chance of showers and storms. We may get a couple in Jamaica, see some purples, 50 millimeters or 2 inches of rain. Same thing as we swing over toward Puerto Rico, could get a couple of those downpours. And then Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Antigua, and Barbuda, that's where we could see anywhere from 25 millimeters of rain or an inch of rain, with that little disturbance trying to squeak in as we work our way into Friday. Elsewhere, spotty showers and storms, slightly better chance as we get toward Trinidad and northeastern Venezuela. Not as much Guyana and Suriname. Suriname, we are mainly dry. Then we swing back here. These are those pockets, parts of El Salvador, Guatemala, parts of Honduras. There has been some flooding the last few days just in these pockets of white shading showing up. Some spots getting over 4 inches of rain or 100 millimeters of some rain. And you see that as well back through Mexico City. Some spots over the next 3 days in and around Mexico City could get about 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain. So yes, Jamaica, scattered showers and storms for us, and it's that pattern. If you're dry, you're hot. If you're getting a thunderstorm, it could be strong and give you those strong kind of gusty winds around, and we'll see that across the Cayman Islands, 30-40% chance of a shower or storm. But Trinidad and Tobago the next couple days, about a 60% chance. Kind of spotty showers and storms possible as we get through Barbados. Spotty showers possible the next 3 days in St. Lucia. 30-40% chance in Grenada, not super high. It would be an isolated shower, isolated to scattered showers the next 3 days. St. Vincent and the Grenadines today and tomorrow, about a 50% chance. We're looking at a 50% chance today and tomorrow in Martinique, and holding on to about a 40% chance, 40 to 50% chance in Dominica over the next 3 days. We do that again in Guadeloupe. Rain chance tomorrow, 40%. Friday, we're at about a 50% chance, and a 40% chance the next couple days Antigua and Barbuda. But there it is on Friday, slightly higher chance of some rain. So plenty of areas to watch, albeit some of those are very small. Rain chance about 50% toward the end of the week, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat. And you see here in Anguilla and St. Parts, it's not a washout, but with that tiny disturbance, that spin working in, that'll bump up our rain chance on Friday. And we do that again, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. 40 to 50% chance of some scattered showers and storms in Puerto Rico. Could be a strong one that could lead to some flooding. 30 to 40% chance. U.S. British Virgin Islands could be a few thunderstorms mixed in. 40 to 50% chance in the Bahamas, favoring the northern Bahamas where there is that stationary front. 30 to 40% chance Turks and Caicos. 30 to 40% chance Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic, though, and Haiti with the daytime heating, that could spark off a few storms, stronger ones. 40% chance the next 3 days in Haiti. So the rain chance has gone up. Belize, we're only looking at an very isolated shower. Otherwise, very hot. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, rain chance 10 to 20%. Over the next 3 days. Curacao, 20% chance tomorrow, 50% chance today in Guyana, and then very isolated tomorrow and Friday. In generally dry weather the next 3 days in Suriname, 30 to 40% chance of some scattered showers and storms the next couple days in Cuba, Costa Rica, and Panama. That seasonal 60% chance, just depends on exact location. 30 to 40% chance in Nicaragua, an even 30% chance of an isolated shower or storm in Honduras, and then the rain chance Guatemala and El Salvador. Tomorrow and Friday, it is going to climb to a 60% chance. Still watching those rivers and climbing Thursday and Friday as we get into Mexico City. I showed you that higher chance of rain or those higher totals around Yucatan. It's only isolated. Things have been east or west. 30 to 40% chance in northern Colombia. 30% chance the next 2 days in northern Venezuela. And with these fronts around coming off the U.S., rain chance is higher as expected in Bermuda. So Francine making landfall today. Atlantic development. I do expect something to try to develop out there. Watching that little spin, not big signs of development out that, but we're going to start to see some areas trying to develop. Central Atlantic, we've got a couple strong tropical waves, and of course that spot near the Bahamas that I do believe will develop and lift its way up toward the Carolinas. So we'll see if one of those becomes the next named system. But those dealing with Francine, all of us in this weather community, all of us across the Caribbean, we are thinking of you dealing with the flooding. Please stay safe. We give our best to your friends and your family. Have a good day ahead.